Hi, Wildheart Diaries family. Welcome back to our episode number 3 of the Wildheart Collective series, where each week we delve into transformational travel stories and inspiring interviews where we explore why we love traveling and how to live a purpose-filled travel lifestyle, doing what we love. Today I'm super stoked to introduce to you a good friend of mine. His name is Adrian The Canadian. He is absolutely amazing. He's the most charismatic, full of energy, full of like life person I've probably ever met. I reckon, like entrepreneur wise, like I just love stalking your social media accounts and seeing what you're here, there, and everywhere, all over the world, in helicopters, in planes, all this cool stuff. So I'm like, I need to pick his brain. So without further ado, welcome, Adrian.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for digging me up so nice that I'm going to need to bring myself back down to reality.
No pressure now. The expectations aren't high at all. So fun. So you have such a cool life story. Like when I met you now a few years ago in Palma de Mallorca, God, time flies. It was so random meeting you. You were doing a different business venture then. It sounds like you've always been very entrepreneurial and just have it through and through in your blood, which you can see by any time you see on like your Facebook page or whatever. You're just like doing all sorts of cool
living, breathing business.
Yeah, exactly.
AKA having no life, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it's like when you find a job and find something that you love doing. It's not work, really. You know, it's what you do. You live and breathe it. So yeah, let's dive into a bit of your story and where you're from and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I introduce myself as Adrian the Canadian, typically, first of all, because it rhymes, and secondly, it just saves me the whole hassle of where are you from? And it just starts the conversation. So born near Vancouver, Canada, Norwegian mom, German dad. Grew up always hearing my mom saying that home was one place, my dad saying home was another place. And it's like, okay, well, so travel was kind of really just early on bred into me, going to Norway a lot as a kid. When I was 22, I moved to Norway, learned Norwegian, spent some time in France, learned French, and then I kind of that was when I really got the bug to start like living my life while traveling a lot. When I was 18, of course, I did a bit of a gap year living in Norway, Costa Rica, traveling around then. But I worked in television for about 4 or 5 years. Loved doing that. How far back should I start? Should I start at the teenage time?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where it all really gets started.
Yeah, I want the juicy stuff.
So when I was like 13, I started riding BMX bikes. And I turned out to be quite good at it and started going to contests, traveling down to California, doing a lot of trips. And going to contests, stuff like that. Started a t-shirt company when I was 16, and then I started making videos for both for that and also for sponsorship reels for BMX stuff, and making videos for friends and skateboard videos and all that. Then I ended up going and starting to do some work for a couple of like video projects for small businesses. Ended up getting a scholarship to this little film production program, which is like a month-long documentary course. Out of that, I got like a job offer to help work on this pilot TV show. Then when I was 18, I got a job as a receptionist at a film production company. And after 3 weeks on the job, the editor was sick one day, and I said, "Hey, can I do his job today?" They're like, "All right, sure." By the end of the day, I got his job, and I was the editor of a nationally aired TV show at 18 years old, with dreadlocks, no less. Then stayed with them for about 4 years, went to Norway, came back to Canada in 2009. This was a really terrible time, basically anywhere in the economy in the creative field. So I couldn't get a job, and I was like, well, you know, I had my t-shirt company. I've always wanted to start my own company, and I was doing side projects before, so why not just start doing that? So got a Best Buy credit card, bought a camera, started doing film projects, and by the time that 90-day credit card needed to be paid, I had enough money to pay for the cameras that I had bought. It's like, okay, great. So started up that way. That creative agency, started out doing videos, but ended up doing videos. Then the clients we had were like, well, you made us this great video. Can you also do our website? That's like all computer stuff, right? It's kind of the same. It's like, yeah, sure. So started doing websites, hired a designer, did that. Ended up growing that company to a team of about 12 people.
And how old were you at this stage?
24, 5, yeah.
You good.
And then, I'm 31 now, born in 1986, if you want to do the math. And then, so this creative agency was like moving and going. and then hit a bit of an awkward life patch. Things kind of shifted around a little bit. I actually got divorced. I don't know if you even know that. Do you know that I was married?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I got married when I was 20. Grew up in a really religious like community, and that was the thing to do. Anyway, when I got divorced, some of my best friends that were working for me at the time, they didn't quite see eye to eye with this life change. And they were like, well, we're not really going to stay working with you. I was like, oh, shit. And because I then lost 4 of my key staff, I lost a bunch of projects that we were doing. So I couldn't deliver. And then all of a sudden I was like stuck in this really tight spot. And it's like, fuck, I lost like $80,000 worth of projects in this like few month period. It was like, then my bike got stolen. I'm kind of in this like really bad period. But it's like, okay, I've been doing all this digital stuff. I want to make something physical. I want to make something that I can actually touch. And sorry, are these making a lot of noise?
No, it's fine.
Right there, so I'm gonna take those off.
Get your boy band jacket off.
Oh yeah. So I ended up, my bike got stolen. I was kind of sick of this whole like digital only realm. I wanted to make a physical product. So, and my bike got stolen. I was like, well, I've always loved bikes. What if I make a bike lock? Then I started looking. Okay, well, bike locks. The most annoying thing is it's always making noise. It's whining and dangling and stuff. So then I looked at the seat post, which is on a bike. There's the seat, and then there's that pole, that you lift the seat up and down with.
Yeah,
so I made a special seat post that had like a hole in it, so you could put the lock cable inside of it. You could pull it out and lock the bike up. So I had this idea, put it on Kickstarter, and launched it on January 3rd, 2013, and it raised like 50 grand. We had like 1,100 backers, and then I built a business out of that. So that's the business that I was running when I met you when I was living in Spain.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So got production up and running, got a couple of like investors on board, then got sales and distribution into 24 different countries. So like all throughout Europe, a couple countries in Asia, North America. Made deals with, Halfords in the UK. Are your listeners mostly US based or?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so sold to REI, sold to Schwinn Bikes, which were selling some bikes at Walmart.com with the bike lock on it. So that was really cool. And then I was in the process of finding a bit of a trade out because I wanted to switch the business concept. Ended up making a business deal that didn't go well for me at all, and I got screwed out of basically that. And I was left in a position where I had $600 left in the bank, and I was like staying at my friend's couch in Spain. And I was like, okay, well, this didn't work the way I hoped it would. What am I gonna do? And I just come back to Mallorca, and I was visiting there with a girl that I was seeing at the time, and her bag had just been stolen from between our chairs. And I'd been talking about making a bag with a lock on it because I'm making bike locks. And I was like, well, maybe this is just the chance to actually do this. So I started working on this bag prototype, which was a bag that had a lock, and I was looking into solar stuff. I wanted to figure out how to make it solar. January 4th is when I found this kind of corruption thing had happened with the bike lock thing. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just focus all my time on this. So from January 4th until February 29th, I just put all my time in this, made this bag prototype, made the video, did the photography, did all this stuff with just the help of my friends, $600 budget. February 29th, I launched the Kickstarter campaign for Lifepack, this backpack, at 6 a.m. There you go. Hey, sweet backpack.
It goes everywhere with me. I love it. It is the best.
At noon that day, launch day, I tried to buy a coffee. My card got declined because I was out of money. But the campaign had already raised $20,000 in those few hours. It's like, okay, this is going to be fun.
Oh my
God.
God.
To raise $600,000. So just by like sheer will and determination and like finding the right product and a little bit of luck.
And persistence and hard work.
$100K in that first like 45 days. And persisted. Yeah, it's kept on going. And we've shipped like 21,000 of those around the world.
So incredible.
It's pretty good fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, there's the fast forwarded 12-year story.
What a 12 years it's been too.
Yeah.
And we'll delve a lot more into that entrepreneurial stuff in a bit, because I find that so interesting and love how like there's like a recurring pattern with entrepreneurs. Like you have to keep persisting. Like you're always going to have roadblocks. You're always going to fail. You're always going to, well, not always, but you're going to have people who screw you over. Like it's not everyone is ethical and have your best interests in mind, but you've just got to persist. Like everything happens for a reason. And I mean, if the bike lock thing didn't work out, then maybe it wouldn't have led you to Lifepack and like creating this whole crazy, amazing business model. So we'll definitely delve into that later. But I was wondering, like, what kind of 3 important lessons has traveling taught you, especially like traveling by yourself, which you usually do, as far as I know.
Yeah. What 3 lessons?
Or just like what's been, I guess you grew up traveling, so it's kind of been your second nature. But
yeah,
have you learned kind of like?
I think one of the big things is learning to make friends quickly.
Yeah.
When you get to a new place, like if you're moving there, you're going to live there. Quickly finding a bit of a social network is really important. I think it's also taught me that in general, most people are good.
Yeah.
Like 99% of people are good and great and want to do good things with their lives and want to meet good people, and they want to like help with like people are good, meet people. I think it's basically that people are what make a place a place.
Yeah.
Traveling to any location, it's fun to like have a new background, but at the end of the day, the time you spend somewhere is only as good as the people that you're there with. And so I think that's probably it. Each place, each location you go to fosters, or if you were to call it like a nest, each place is like a different garden. It breeds a different type of people. And there's certain I'm going to put my thing on Do Not Disturb so this doesn't ding. Each kind of city or each kind of country will breed a different type of people. Like in Mallorca, it breeds a certain type of person that's very carefree and really live life to the fullest and enjoy life every day. And I love that. And now being in New York City, it's like everyone is really focused on, making an impact or doing their career or whatever. And, not afraid to work 24 hours a day. So it's interesting what all those things mean differently.
Totally. Yeah, it's so interesting living in different parts of the world, and I'm the same. Like wherever I go, like I never stay in hotels or anything. I always like couch surf or Airbnb for that reason. Like I just want to live like a local and like see where they go and the things that they do. But no, they're really good answers. Actually, I hadn't really thought about it like that. It's really cool. Now you pretty much live like your life like this anyway, but if you had no limitations.
#YOLO.
What? Huh?
I said #YOLO.
Pretty much. That is like your middle name, pretty much. So if you had 1 week to live and no limitations, how would you spend your time?
I would be in things going fast, I can tell you that. If it was from a pure enjoyment perspective, I would probably be like frantically trying to like squeeze out like some of the ideas for products that I have that I want to make. I would probably be like frantically trying to like get those to paper and like try to get some of those things out so that my babies can outlive me. And then I would spend the rest of it in fast cars, fast planes, fast anything that goes fast, and jumping out of airplanes and whatever. And then if I knew that it was like 7 days to the hour, on that last hour, I would fly a plane out over the ocean, go up nice and high, and just jump out of it. And just like, peace. Like maybe have a microphone in my hand at some point to like drop somewhere.
I love that. That's awesome. All done in style, and you'd have a videographer there with you the whole time, obviously.
Probably to watch my carcass crumble into the Pacific as it hits.
So awesome. I love that. What do you think is more important, confidence or courage?
Oh, what's the difference? That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Oh, because confidence is the ability to do anything just that you may or may not do, but courage is the ability to do things despite your fear. I think that, ooh, interesting. I think that confidence is really important because that way you'll charge forward regardless. Whereas courage means that you have something that you're afraid of, and I think that that fear is there's nothing to fear but fear itself. I think that if you have that fear, that could be the irrational thing. So I think that confidence is probably a more functional tool in the long run, because the more courage you have, the less of it you need.
Definitely. So I always love seeing people's different perspective on that question, but that was awesome. It was really
yeah. I'd love to see the other people's responses, because that's interesting to like think about.
Yeah,
they're close, but they're not.
Yeah, totally. What was my next question? What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur such as yourself? Like, what key traits or like mindset and stuff like that would you say?
I would say that above all, it just takes a commitment to your craft, whatever that craft is, and that you're committed to that over whatever other goals you have, that you put that thing over your social life and over your whatever, that you just make it your biggest priority.
Yeah. Totally. Just like living and breathing that choice into your craft, really. Yeah. It's so cool. Like, I'm just so in awe of people that can do that, who have just found something that they love doing and they want to do, and they've found this strong purpose and pull in life, and they're just going hard at it. Like Elon Musk, he just like blows my mind. So cool.
Yeah.
How do you think that comfort zones are crippling people from attaining the life they desire? And are there powerful benefits to challenging resistance and taking risks?
I think that comfort zones are tricky because if you want to run a business, if you want to achieve anything, if you want to get from A to B, that journey in the middle is going to suck. So you need to be willing to do things that suck to get there. And so I think that, I don't know if you've ever heard the quote, an entrepreneur is someone who's willing to work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40. And it's like, well, depends on what you want that comfort zone to be. And so for some of us, like having that to just push through walls of doing things you don't want to do. And I think that that's a really important trait to have, is just that blind passion to achieve whatever that thing is you want to achieve, regardless of how uncomfortable it might be.
Totally. Like, getting comfortable being uncomfortable, I believe, is probably like the best skill like you can have.
Yeah.
To get you through anything. What are your best strategies for kicking fear to the curb and living life to the fullest?
Put myself in the 10 years from now position and look backwards and think, what decision would I be most proud of?
I love that. So good.
Because then it's like, because I don't need to make the decision, because I don't need to live with the decision, because right now Adrian's dead in 5 minutes. But like 50-year-old Adrian, he's the one who needs to be comfortable with the decisions that I'm making today. And so therefore that takes all the pressure off of me feeling uncomfortable with anything. It's not part of the thing.
That's a really cool way of looking at it. It's a great exercise to do too with yourself. Just like when you're in that moment when you're like, shit, I need to make this decision, or, shit hits the fan, you're like, okay, what would myself in 10 years do? What would the position, like looking back, and instead of being caught in the now and being like getting anxiety about it. That's awesome. I love that.
What would future Sarah
do? Adrian, what's your superpower?
Oh. I would say it's somehow related to hyperfocus and just being able to focus and narrow in on something. So I'm like super ADHD diagnosed, whatever. I've tried taking medications for it, and it actually takes away this ability, which is why I'm so acutely aware of it. If I really am passionate about something, I will just like go in on it. I'll put the blinders on and like nothing else exists. And it's a really great way to like get into the depths of something, to like really understand what needs to happen there and then go out. It's not a great trait to have in relationships, because like just ignore all the people around you and you just go into this one thing. But I think in terms of what it means for a problem solving capability, if you can identify the right problems, then it's really great.
Yeah, and great for business. Like, absolutely, it's super. That's an amazing skill to have. I think for sure. So apart from like traveling and business, I guess, what consumes your curiosity at the moment? I'm sure it's always evolving and changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I place all my curiosity. I find a business venture that I can put that curiosity into. So like I've got some other business ideas that I want to pursue, but I'm kind of trying. That hyper focus is a double-edged sword, because sometimes if I really want to focus on this thing, but it's like, no, but I need to mature this business, get it to a point of running stably, and then I can focus on the squirrels. And I think that's just part of growing up, is learning how to do that. Curiosity, I think that for me, I travel a ton to keep my curiosity, to keep, like, if the background's ever changing, it helps me focus on what I'm doing for work. But for other curiosity stuff, I would say that it's just, like getting to know people and hearing their stories. I love hearing people's stories about what they've done and how they've got to where they are.
Yeah, no, that's
like almost everything from my life revolves around work. But aside from that, I would say meeting people and yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it all kind of ties in together. Like your whole brand with Lifepack and Soul Guard is, like living life to the fullest and travel and, everything else that you just completely show in all your videos and all that amazing content that you produce. So I think it just pretty much represents who you are as a person as well. You've just like put yourself into a business and into a brand, and I love it. It's so I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to see what else you produce. So what advice would you give your 15-year-old self if you could?
The time is now. I think that, we live in a day and age where, as a 15-year-old, if you want to pursue your big dream, you can start doing it now. I think I've spent a lot of my life developing my skills in certain areas. Mm-hmm. So I've been building myself up towards the point where I have the abilities and the skills to take on a big challenge. For me, making bags is just the start. Making videos and stuff, that was the start towards like having the skills to build the marketing side up for a business, which is then, then I learned some of the practical elements of running a physical products business with the bike lock company. Now it's like, okay, taking that skill of brand and everything and putting it into bags. And then it's like the next step will be like the next step. Whereas I think that if you start with a dream that's big enough, and if you push on that right from the get-go, if your dream is big enough, it'll attract enough people that they'll have that skill set to help you do that thing. So I think that, dream as big as you can and go for it.
So
I
cool.
would tell my 15-year-old self.
So cool. I'm sure your 15-year-old self was just like fully dreaming about all this crazy stuff that you have now experienced.
I think, I'm happy to say, I think my 15-year-old self would be like, damn, like you've done some cool stuff. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny, like 15 is such a tender age, and you're either like, a lot of people that I've interviewed have been like, oh, I would never, like, one interviewee said, she was just like, I wouldn't be paid $1 million to go back and live my 15-year-old self again. I was like, wow, that's but it's just so interesting how different your experiences can be. And now she's like a super successful life coach, like just absolutely killing it, traveling the world. And like, so it's just getting past those very tender ages and just like breaking out and traveling and just doing what you have to do to expand your consciousness and your awareness. And that's awesome. And now on the other scale of things, where can you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, 41 years old. Maybe I'll have a little bit of pepper in my beard. I'll be like a little gentlemanly. 10 years, it's tricky. I legitimately want to do stuff around flying cars. And so I think in 10 years, I'll make some progress in that. I just really want to ride a flying motorcycle, and so I'm like looking at that.
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, in 10 years, I would like to have made progress on what I want to do with that. I think that the range of products that we're making into a place of having quite a good stronghold. I don't know what that looks like. I would like to have my time based between, I think it's New York City, and then a couple months a year in Mallorca. I just love that island. It is my favorite place, but I can't be there full time. There's just not quite the infrastructure and people around there to be there. Yeah, I would just say more of what I'm doing now, and that I'm on the path towards where I want to be, and just continuing on that.
So cool. What you have so much to look forward to. It's so exciting.
We all do. The future is all of our oysters. We can all do whatever we want.
Absolutely, 100%. Like I always think about, I think about life as a big picture. Like I think, I can't wait to go skydiving on my 100th birthday. I'm looking forward to that shit. It's gonna be fun.
Don't just skip the parachute. You made it to 100. You're good. Just do my thing. Jump out into the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Peace. I'm out. But I'm 27 right now. That's not even 30.
Such a little baby.
Little baby. So I'm just what's the rush? I'm just gonna kick back. There was a couple of years, a couple of years back, I was getting anxiety about doing. I was there's all this stuff I wanted to do, and I was I can't do it fast enough. And then I was just hold up, I've got all the time in the world. I've got nothing but time. There's no use stressing about anything. Just do your thing and live in the now. And that's really what I've been personally working on the past few years, is just doing some really deep personal stuff and just becoming super comfortable in what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. It's been fun. But so 2018 for you, what's on the agenda?
So 2018 is an interesting year for me because 2017 was a big products year. So we released the first backpack in December of 16. That's when it started shipping. And it was really just building out the product range of everything. And so it was scatter, do stuff. We made watches. Did I tell you? Did you see these?
Yeah. They're super cool.
And so it was it was a year of getting all these products. And then it was okay, now we built the whole sales shelf of stuff. And now this year is okay, now actually make it sell. Make it and not just online. Start getting the proper retail partnerships in with, So this year is it's kind of an eat your veggies year for me of okay, set this thing up, get it moving, get it operating, smooth out the systems, get all my proper paperwork in order and all that kind of stuff. It's been 17 was a year of throw out the roots, and then now it's okay, water them and seed them and take care of it. So this year is really just a lot of that. It's a be an adult year. I've got some travel planned. I'll be, doing a few trips to China, visiting factories, Vietnam, going to see my friends back in Spain, going to see my family in Norway. But this is this is a year of hunker down a little bit and prepare, stabilize, build the right partnerships and mature those.
Yeah, nurturing those relationships you build in life.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, it sounds like it's gonna be an epic year for you then.
It's epic it's in a comfort zone thing. It's a stepping out of my comfort zone of this constant travel and just be okay, take a deep breath and process the stuff and do the work. Last year I was from February 14th until November. I was I was not in the same bed for more than 6 days in a row. Something, maybe there was one period where I stayed for 3 weeks in Amsterdam. But other than that, it was an insane, crazy year.
Wow, that's insane.
So now it's hunker down a bit in New York City. And what's great about being here is that there's so much stuff going on that it's able to, there's so many things going on that I'm able to travel, but it's all in the same city. There's thousands of restaurants and all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
Totally. No, New York sounds like it really suits you, and like especially for
You
this
need
stage.
to come pass through and come say hi.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll be there in August, so I will definitely um, catch up with you if you're around. And you need to come to Miami, come visit.
Yeah, that's not a hard ask.
Sunshine State. It's been like Miami is so fun, and I just got my boat license, so we can go out cruising on boat.
Awesome. Okay, I'm there.
Sounds good. Make it happen.
Like seriously, I'll come like in a couple weeks. I should.
Yeah, do it. Do it. I'm actually going on vacay for 3 weeks from Saturday, but when I get back, I'm all yours. It'll be fun. That's awesome. So, what would be your favorite words of wisdom or quotes, or like who inspires you?
One of my favorite quotes from a design perspective is Antoine Saint-Exupéry, something. He was a French World War II pilot, but the quote is, "Perfection is not achieved when there is nothing left to add, but when there is nothing left to take away."
Yes, I love that quote. It's so true.
So like from a design perspective, from like a creating your life perspective, from everything, it's like instead of trying to like pile on a million things, just like I think it's just the truest quote for any kind of minimalistic life of any sort. So
less is more.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so where can we follow your journey on social and Lifepack and
so Lifepack is Lifepack_bags on Instagram. I am Adrian _the Canadian on Instagram. The watches are Hexwatch, HEXWATCH. I'm guessing everyone's on Instagram. That's probably the simplest way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our website is www.solgard.co. That's SOLGAARD.co.
.co.
These are technically microphones. If I like,
you're so techie with all this cool stuff. I love it. I love it.
Mic drop.
Yeah, everyone should definitely follow you on Instagram. He does some really cool stories and always here, there, and everywhere. So it's really fun to follow you.
Thank you. You're a very fun girl to follow yourself. You've got color and sunshine and beaches and beautiful poised water.
Lots of water. I've been last year I was pretty stationary. Like I didn't leave Florida for like 10 months. Oh no, actually that's a big lie. I went to Bahamas pretty much every couple of weeks, but it was for work. So my work's pretty cool anyway, but
were you taking a boat to the Bahamas?
Yes.
But then you didn't fly anywhere, so that's kind of.
Actually, no, I did fly a couple of times, but it's for work. So I didn't take any like self trips. But this year, I've got heaps on the cards. Like we're going to the Bahamas and Cuba and Sri Lanka. I want to go to Burning Man. Want to come to Burning Man?
I really do.
Well, keep it in mind.
Weird ass tent of like gypsy nomads going on.
Yeah, let's get weird. It's gonna be so. I've been wanting to go forever, so it's gonna be. That's like non-negotiable this year. Need to make it happen. But yeah, I can't wait for you to come visit, and I'll come see you in New York for sure. Thank you so much for your time, and excited for everything that's gonna come into fruition for you. It's very cool. You deserve it. So thank you so much.
And thanks people for listening. If you ever have questions or anything on like entrepreneurship, startup, Kickstarter stuff, feel free to send me a DM and I will do my best to reply with a helpful and thoughtful answer.
Sounds good. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hi, everybody.